as I think about that duality, the awareness, it's my tendency to look out there or in here, which is inside me. It's like, where do I look for it? It was like I was working for example, it's like God, or as we know her. Is God out there or in here? I always thought she was out there. Do I believe or not? No, not the way you do, I would say, about a God. Meaning, it's like I hold we are all gods. We're equal. We're a part of. I don't understand why we need hierarchies. Now, here on Earth, I understand that, but at that realm, at that degree that we're striving for, we already are, and yet we're still striving for it.
That's very well put, Jesse.
That's the insanity of in here, out there. We are already gods, and we're looking out there for it. We're looking out there for it. We're looking for the world to tell us we are. Because when we look out there, we're looking for validation.
For me, I had an ant, living in my head for many years. The ant stands for, automatic negative thoughts that was dominating my inner.
Yeah. Yep, and that's like wallowing on the decisions of the past, guilty, shameful, blameful, poor me. The negative has all sorts of flavors. I can't emphasize enough. All we want is a feeling, or all we want is feeling.
Yes.
If that can be what we look through, it's like, what feeling do I want with this? So the feeling is in here. And we can choose our feeling. It doesn't feel like you can, but you can. Through awareness, we can stop reacting, because we're only reacting to what's being done to us out there. And out there is chaos, because people out there don't know what the hell they're doing either. We're in unresolvable structures, and we look for people in unresolvable structures to tell us how to fix our unresolvable structures. And we pay
Too
them
much
a lot of
confusion out there.
money. And we pay them a lot of money. And a lot of confusion. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm right. I mean, that's just not, that's, but then I am. So I can just speak to me seeing the difference between the two. One I was unaware of, and one I am choosing today. And those are two different beings, but it's still me.
People don't want to do the work, looking for the answer themselves. They want somebody to do it for them.
Yeah, that sounds like a real resolvable structure. And I have mine. It's like, oh, I just ignore that. It'll go away. Yeah.
It's interesting though when you also think about those mirror neurons and the fact that we are social beings. We're built to look to each other.
Yes. Which
So
means we were doing something different before we're doing what we're doing now.
yeah, I think for me again, it's about how you look.
Mm-hmm.
With what feeling do you look?
Yep.
And what do you choose to focus on? And that's why I love that statement so much of, if you have no peace, if we have no peace in the world, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to each other. All of us.
So the truth, like to look at, to look at our truth. Do we believe we belong to one another?
I mean, I find that difficult when I think about what there is in the world. I'm not so sure that I want to belong to everybody.
Hmm. I don't think to be that we don't have to. It's when someone isn't belonging, does it disrupt the continuity of that?
Yes. Yes.
It's not like it's my responsibility to connect everyone.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because if you look at that statement, there's no way possible.
Mm.
But if you look at it another way, it's totally possible.
Yes. And makes complete sense.
It makes complete sense. But only for those that have stepped into it to explore it. And
Yeah.
those that haven't have no other, like, can't see anything else.
No. No.
I mean, can you imagine what it's like not to know how to read?
Mm.
Can
No.
you?
No.
Can
Not
you?
anymore. No.
But there was a time that you did,
I know.
but you didn't know it.
Well, um, I knew that I couldn't read, and I had a very strong urge and determination that I wanted to be able to read. But that was because I had older siblings and I was the youngest, and everybody could read excepting me. That was a big part of it.
You saw what was important.
Mm-hmm.
What was important in your family structure. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you saw that, like, then you shaped your reality that way. You couldn't see it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was no even reason to think that there is any other way. Like, wouldn't isn't all parents the same as your parents?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, as a child, isn't your parents just the same as everyone else's parents?
Yeah.
I mean, a child has a very limited view of what a parent is. And then when that child turns into the parent, it's a whole bigger view.
Mm. Oh, yes.
Like it's just part of life. You didn't know how to read, and then you knew how.
Mm.
You didn't know what a parent was and thought you did, or thought you should till like knew how to parent yourself better than your parents did until you're a parent.
Mm.
That doesn't change the fact that you think you know.
Correct.
Yeah, we are talking about the invisible,
Be unaware.
the unaware, the invisible. It's like point to a feeling. Point to a feeling and say, oh, that's an orange tree. You can't do the same thing. Now you can look right to see it and be like, oh, I see, I'm witnessing an emotion, right? I'm witnessing their emotion. You don't know how that feels to them.
Mm.
You know how it feels for you. And that's why you can say, oh, that's angry. But, I never get angry. So
Mm. We also
I
don't
mean,
know the significance of the emotion for the other person. And by that I mean, you can see people get angry, but how quickly do they drop it?
or hold on to it.
Yeah, or hold on to it.
Awareness isn't attaching to one or the other.
No,
It's just seeing both of them.
exactly. Yeah.
And when you see both of them, you see all of them. So you
When you
go
see
from,
the two, when you see the two opposites, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The point of the opposites is that whatever you pick, it's going to fall somewhere in between the two opposites.
Yes.
It doesn't matter which one's in there. It's just that you see them all. And then it's like, okay, now that you have the choices, it's like, now that you see all the potential hinds, the possibilities, it's like, oh, what's next?
Hmm.
And can still be chained down.
I think when you see all the possibilities, Jess, you're at that point where you really are just observing. And you're seeing new things, but you're observing. For me, at that point, you would be like my teacher said, blue sky. And so there's an acceptance that there's always something new.
Yep. Yep.
But there's not a searching
Nope.
for something new.
Nope.
Hmm.
It's staying in the feeling and creating.
Yes. Staying in the feeling and conducting.
Yep.
Hmm.
So
And accepting what comes out when, what sounds come out when they come out, not resisting. Oh, good morning, Syndrome.
Good morning, Cinderella.
Good morning, beautiful souls.
Oh,
good morning, Sindrell.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning. What a house full of beautiful folks here this morning and every morning. What you doing?
We're pondering inside here and outside there.
So in here, out there.
And the universe.
And which one is your power tool?
I know my in here is my power tool, but and I am too aware that out there is an adherence. I'm doing an adherence thing to the out there, like the out there is the reality that I meet my in here to get my in here to out there. But actually, I know I'm not always I feel the limit. I feel the limits like to go beyond the out there. And I'm doing more adherence and I get mad at myself a bit, wobbling to get the in here out there.
Hmm. What is there in here that you want to get out there?
The reciprocation of giving and receiving.
Hmm. That's connection for me.
It's getting results with the intentions of what I'm putting out.
Hmm. And what are those results? If you had to choose a few words, one or two, what would the results be?
Income for service. without having to be concerned about the income.
Okay. And could income come in another way as well?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And sometimes in ways that you'd be like, oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
when the obligation of bills are a predictable pattern, I want the income to come in a predictable pattern or unpredictable, but for it to exceed the predictable pattern of bills.
Mm.
Because so that's the inside out there thing, because when you have stuff that needs to be dealt with that you don't want to take so much of your attention up, it pulls away from the in here creativeness
Mm.
and purity of authentic in here to put out there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Hmm. So the in here, how would you describe the in here?
The in sometimes, most of the time, the in here is recognizing the in here, the fruitfulness of creating without adhering to the out there. But the other part of the time, there's traumatization and limitation in the in here, because the out here is responsibility and it must be addressed in order to protect the in here space.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's that wiggle, right?
Yeah, it's a wiggle and a jiggle and a shuffle and a muffle and a duffle and a luffle. Yeah.
Yeah. Could be a complete breakdown.
Say that again.
I mean, it could be a complete breakdown.
Yeah, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta protect the in here space.
And it could produce our genius.
Yeah, it's a shakedown.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Mhm. To create, the shakedown causes you to be more creative in other ways.
Mm. potentially showing the new ways that are available that we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm,
that's where the trust comes in, right? For me to trust, just to keep on working at allowing and opening until something connects solidly enough.
I don't think there's ever until, is there? It's always connecting more, creating on top of. So, like until it's like until we can't do that anymore.
In that way, yes, I would agree with you. That in the short term, for me, it's about riding that wave and crashing in the wave and then getting up and going again and going again and going again.
yeah, but sometimes I just want to lay on the beach.
Sure, but that's the until. That's when the magic happens. And then, as time goes on, things change, and so you've got to come up with the next.
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to, but it's it, it it's more beneficial to allow the ebb and flow. Because if you clamp down on it, you're going to get stuck on either side.
Yeah, I don't talk more about the clamp down. I miss that. You said if you clamp down on it. What's
Yeah.
clamp down?
So clamping down would be if you insist that it has to be a certain way. That your
Not in.
end,
Mhm.
that your creation has to look like you wanted it right from the beginning, and you're not allowing for what could happen in between that could bring even better options and possibilities, as Heinz would say.
There's an evolution of freedom there, not to be clamped down, to understand the fluidness of creation.
Mm. Mm. I would agree.
So my father would he built cabinets in the kitchen, and he sat down and he was able to enjoy the fruits of his labor, the purpose of his labor. As it's written, the heavens and the earth were made, and on the seventh day God rested. There's a respite there. The
Mm-hmm.
boxer went into the ring and fought. Oh, he fought until the bell rang. And he went into the corner and he took a respite, a respite. And the gardener planted and saw the flowers grow up. and sat in her lounge chair and enjoyed the beauty of the flowers and smelt the scent. So I just want to enjoy the waves, to take a respite, to cultivate and muse over the period of creation and see and enjoy and appreciate that which has been created. And doing it anyway, but still looking over the shoulder because other things have been created too. That when the seasons change, the garden has to be turned over. When the bell rings, the fighter goes back out into the ring. And so everything has a time and a season. And they say 7 days God rested, but then came the next day, the cycle of time and time to work again. I'm just seeking for the cycle for the respite to allow the rest, for the rest to engage with the creator and give that pause of yes, and this is good. And invigorate without threat and without doubting to do even more engagement again with connection. Just looking for that seventh day rest, just without it being encroached upon into just an hour or a few minutes or an escape into the imagination of one's mind. And that's where you say trust. Trust does come in. Trust.
It's like a dissolving into our power.
Mm.
And our power is love.
Mm. Dissolving into our power. Wow. Dissolving into our power, wherein no limits lie. Dissolving into our power, no parameters to be shy, but to muse in the creation, regardless of the braces and the tie downs. And to do as the energetic flow does do. Not chased, not rushed, but with each day ensues. enjoying the mysticalism of finding oneself renewed, dissolving into our power. Each moment being a thrill of being alive, of being new and connecting. And those connections, however they wibble, wobble, flow, or go, are true. And they don't stop dissolving into our power. Hmm. No limits, all love, all love. Mm-mm.
I think awareness is our superpower or a superpower.
Mm. Mm.
And awareness is a tool for self mastery.
Mm.
To live consciously and harmoniously
Mm.
between the internal and external.
Mm. That's beautifully put forth.
Our tendency, humanity, like it were majority of us, have learned as children to have our focus out there. It's like we'll get it from out there. But if we can shift, if we can see this tendency, this automatic, then we can shift it inward. So that if we can start to see that it's in here that matters, you gain freedom. Freedom because you're no longer tied or dependent on external validation or control. You're no longer dependent on it. You are empowered This is an empowerment because you recognize your ability to choose how to respond. Because it's in here. It's like your choice is in here, regardless of what's happening outside you. And by shifting your awareness inward, you gain clarity. And clarity is that you can see beyond, you can see through, you can see your automatic reactions. So you can see your automatic reactions to what's happening out there, right? It's like, oh, I'm reacting to what's out there, just reacting. And then you can access deeper truths. It's like, oh, is that true? And in here refers to the internal world, thoughts, emotions, perceptions, beliefs, and reactions. It's subjective, rooted in our personal subjective, like rooted in our personal experience. And within our direct control. So it is how we get the control we're looking for, is by in here. Because then we can exercise the awareness, choice, and creation. Out there refers to the external world, situations, people, events. It's objective to some degree, observable, and often beyond our control. This includes everything that happens to us and how we perceive those occurrences. Those just tend to be automatics, and there's very few of them, even though it feels like an unlimited amount. That's just the rational, logical, ego brain that's keeping you in the out there structure. So is your focus out there or in here? Which one do you want?
And even when your focus needs to be out there, what is your awareness of what it is that you're working with? And what is your awareness of what you're bringing to it? It was a great summary, Jesse.
Thank you, Allison. You too. Mm.
Jesse, as you were talking, my yin and yang was flipping back and forth of where the he laughing at me, Allison.
No, it's such a good description.
And I was trying to capture like what you said as you were still saying what you were saying, but I got my garment caught on the fence of, did he say? So I had to put it in the chat just so that I was like, did I hear what I think I heard? Did it rattle an external presence of definition out there? So I was like, did you say between the eternal and external?
Internal.
Yeah,
I am.
yeah, but what happens to me here is sometimes things are said, but it drops in my spirit differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I said, well, did you say between the eternal
Oh,
and the
wow.
external, or between the internal and the external?
Wow.
Question was, where's your power? And then as you continue to talk, it was yin yanging me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because some things are said by the word, and sometimes the spirit takes it over.
Yeah.
And then I was getting that the internal is the eternal.
Eternal. Very
I
good.
was I'm like out on what's the lady's name? I was out there on that leading edge, man. I was just like, wow, this is leading edge. Leaving the external defines or confines and out on that leading edge. And if I was on some, what's the people be taking Asiwaga or some, I was like out there. And to allow the out there to be out there and to venture. And to be and just to explore this, to allow the allowing of what is, it strengthens the awareness to never be confined to the out there. The out there is out there, and it's okay that it's out there, and it's good that it's out there, because as we're creating and we're making these deposits that are the out there-ness, that everything that is really already was. Like this desk I'm looking at, this was a long time ago. It's a reality. Everything that is a was. But everything in us, the eternal that's in us to be expressed, is the creation, which will leave evidence in some form of another, to be a creation that what we create today will be a was also. So what are we creating? What am I creating in my thoughts, in my eternalness? What am I creating in my eternalness? What attitudes am I creating? What trust am I creating? What trust am I growing? To be on that leading edge, that grows trust. That grows trust. But to shrink into the confines of what already is today, that was already created. Now let me create for tomorrow, the next bloom in the garden. Let me create how the boxer goes into the ring and create how that round will leave evidence of me participating.
Mm.
It's like we don't. It's not like we do anything different, except for that we're aware we're doing it.
Yes.
It was like you had like you were triggered to be like, wow, did I hear this or this? And it was like, and rather than grabbing onto it and running down a rabbit hole that you would normally do, you like looked at it as a possibility.
Mhm.
Not as that's it is or it isn't. You looked at it as you put it in as a possibility to say, oh, I wonder what, like, how could it fit? Eternal, internal. It's like ah, and it was like even as you made the connection, you had an aha, and I had an aha. It was like
Mm.
yes, there, like what a great step into your power, your internal, eternal power. That's the connection.
Mm.
And we can't find that out there.
Mm.
But we find it through out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a lot of people would want to like argue back and forth whether it was this word or this word, right? It's like, oh no, we're going to be clear on which one it was, and it doesn't matter,
True.
right? Like it really doesn't matter. It's it's a point for it, it's to have the conversation is how we belong to one another.
Mm.
Space for the conversation, for the expression, for the share, for the sharing. Like sharing how it is for you helps me see how it is for me. Like we're mirror neurons. Let's use it effectively. It's already happening. Like we're already doing it. Let's just like
Mm.
open it wide up.
Yeah.
It's where collaboration takes over being right.
Yeah. It allows everyone to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And isn't that how we belong?
Mm-hmm.
But if everyone's right, then we also can say, well, everyone then is wrong. As long as I'm both of them too, as long as I'm with you on it, it works.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm separating myself.
Mm.
And oh boy, do we like to do that.
Mm.
Yeah. Separating and stagnating.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, that's safe, right? That's safe.
Is it?
Mm. Well, we tend to tell ourselves that that's safety. We'll hold on real tightly for it. We'll fight deeply for it. And it's like we fight the hardest with ones we quote love the most. Huh. Weird.
There's ego fighting. So, ego, I'm just playing with this. Ego fights for what already is
Mm.
and what it already knows.
Yep.
Mm. Mm.
And what is it that the ego like already knows and experienced is only through the feeling does it know what it is? Oh, it's so interesting. It was like they did a study. Um, they trained. They gave taught a worm both pleasure and pain with the same chemical.
Did you say a worm?
A worm, right? A worm. So they tested a worm's nervous system, right? On a on the same. They trained it. They trained it that this same chemical. This chemical would be. It was a. It's like it gave mating, right? So it was a chemical that attracted mating, right? So they would come and they would find a mate. So they associated this pattern, right? This chemistry with mating. And then they changed the chemistry so that then it went to danger. So the worm would come to it, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, it would bump into a hazard, like a danger. It was it's a toxic chemical now. So do you see the confusion?
Yeah, I'm confused.
So they trained at first, they put a chemical in there and it brought the worm to mating, to a mate. To reproduce, to sex.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, it was a chemical that attracted a sexual,
Mm-hmm.
like reproduction. And then
Mm-hmm.
they changed so they put the chemistry in there, but they changed it so it was now toxic. Like it's a
How did they
toxic
change
event.
it to be toxic? The same chemical to be
It,
toxic?
well, the chemical attracted, the chemical smell was around the toxic. So the same smell, if you will, like the smell attracted them to it, and then they ran into a mate or a toxic chemical.
So they could never tell.
So they were working with the senses, right? How to sense it, and did the smell. They said smell. Here's this chemical, right here. This one smell, right, used a chemical of it, would attract for a mate, and then another one would attract to a toxic chemical. So then they took it out and said, all right, now that this worm's been through both of them, here's the chemical again, right? Or here's the smell again. Will this worm go to it or go away from it? What would that tell us?
That is it. It
That
has
it
the
chooses,
experience. Go ahead, Allison.
I was going to say that it chooses its most favorable automatic with it.
Yep.
Mm.
And even with the pain, it went towards it.
Because it was more automatic.
Chose love.
Which one was strong? I would say yes to say which one was stronger.
Mm.
Like at the end of it, it's like it's a choice, right? Like really like, but not the way we think of choice. It is like the worm still went towards it.
Man, so I could get that. Um so
For
you've got
for the possibility of reproduction and the possibility of a threat. So it's like our whole life we go back. Our day is like that.
between possibility and threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that governs a lot of decision making. but I postulate, does the threat, does the danger, the automaticity of the response, is it quicker to the danger or quicker to the pleasure? And because of that automaticity, it's like boom, danger, withdraw, retreat, defense.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's a potential of sex,
which overrides the danger.
Well, it's deeper. It's like a stronger desire at the base. I mean, we've proven that.
Mm.
It's so much of our survival, right?
Mm.
It's just not like it's there all the time, but it's not there all the time. It's like it's this internal feeling, right, that has us feel confused and then full of courage. It's like this is all inside of us, yet we attach it to what's happening out there or what people are saying or just our experience, when really every situation is completely different. It's never the same.
Mm.
I'll be going now. You all have a blessed day.
Thanks, Heinz. Have a good till
Bye.
next time.
Right.
And it's like we know what's best for us, yet we would still do something to harm ourselves. I mean, instant gratification over long-term health, right? I mean, that's prevalent. And logically, it makes no damn sense. Addictions make no damn sense logically, but it's not logic. It's chemical.
Mm.
And emotions are chemistries.
Yeah.
Only in the actions can we name them. Because then it becomes out there, right? We can see it then, but it's those emotions on the inside. And it's the emotions is everything. It's what we want. It's what we want to experience. It's like it's the only thing that gives meaning to life. Yet we don't encourage them. We don't teach our children how to deal with them. We leave that to the TV. The internet, other parents. In here versus out there. We're in here trying to live out there. That's all it is. We're in here trying to live out there. Been a great morning. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Until next time.
Yes.
Peace and love.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Mm.